Hello everyone, this is Zeeebo and welcome back to another video. So in this video, we are gonna talk about everything you need to know before committing to Lorson tomorrow. So Lorson will come to the global server tomorrow, and in this video, we're gonna talk about all the mechanics as well as the different interaction of this unit so far. So first of all, if you're somebody who's low budget, or if you are free to play, I don't encourage you to push him on the very first day, because you're going to get one copy of him from his Wind Whispers mission, as well as his Temporal Essence for the EX weapon. So if you are a simple collector like myself, if you just want to get him to Supreme Plus as well as EX10 for collection or PvE usage purposes, then try to hold off a little bit until you claim everything before you upgrade him to be as resource efficient as possible. So that's for Lorson's quest over here. So these are the different missions, mostly recruitment. So this is for those of you guys who are already intending to pull for him. These are the different additional missions. So let's say if you don't intend to like get him up, then dailies here gives you 60 points. So you will be able to get everything even after the full duration ends. So this is for those of you guys who probably just want one copy, then here's your one copy from the mission over here. So that's for Lorson's resource efficiency. Now with regards to Lorson's usage, based on initial testing, I would say Lorson is a mix between Arden as well as Damien, because this unit has this control ability as well as your debuff ability, together with quite a fair bit of damage and sustain in the EX weapon as well as the third skill over here. So Lorson's key part would be the Stormbound Retribution, where he will link one target to another one, which will be indicated by the icon above the enemy. So that's where you know which target will be linked. And once you reach a certain damage threshold, you will be able to break this link for you to proc the EX weapon ability, which is massive AoE heal as well as stun from this skill over here. So this is where the control, the heal as well as the AoE comes in for Lorson's kit. And in terms of his usage right now, I think he's a lot more, like he's a more flexible version of Arden as well as Damien, because you can definitely try to use him in a different team. So right here, I have an example of using Lorson in a team where this unit did a little bit of damage, did a little bit of healing, as well as provided protection for our frontliner. So without further ado, let's showcase this replay. Okay, so we just go at one time. So one thing about Lorson's kit is that Zephyrus Embrace, I am not sure whether or not it's a visual bug, or is it like a buff to a unit that doesn't showcase that buff ability. Zephyrus Embrace doesn't have an exact animation right now, and you don't actually see like the buff animation below the HP bar. So that's for Zephyrus Embrace, which is the third skill. Although that skill has a cooldown of 12 seconds, but having 50 dodge as well as the ability to heal and haste is definitely really helpful. So for that, I'm not very sure like whether or not it's a visual bug or whether or not it is buff but in a different form. So that's for the thing. So this might be a little bit confusing because there's quite a few units here, but later on I'll showcase a battle where Lorson is the only buffer, and we don't actually see that much from the Zephyrus Embrace buff portion. So that is my initial observation so far. So this is the team. We are able to keep our whole team healthy with a whole bunch of supports, with Lorson, which acts as a semi DPS in the team as well. So let's end the battle here, cause Odie will bring down the enemy. So this is where Lorson can be a pretty flexible version of Arden, and also a much better version of Damien over like the massive buff that he's able to provide, because Damien is definitely good in terms of the healing portion, but in terms of the AoE damage portion, I think Lorson is a lot better. So a slight upgrade compared to Arden as well as Damien. But then if you already have Arden and Damien built up and you have your Iron Armors team, I think Lorson's not gonna provide you with that much more. Like, it's gonna make it a little bit better, but like the value that you will get of getting Lorson up is not gonna be as good as like some like real OP meta character that can form a team around herself, for example like Bonnie, right? So that's for my initial impression. Now let's showcase the Zephyrus Embrace part. So for this part, let's go into battle. So this battle over here has no buffers, right? The only buffer in the team right now would be Lorson that is able to give Zephyrus Embrace. So let's take a look at the buffing ability of Lorson right here. So this is the mark on top of the enemy. So we can see that the Faye will be linked to our dear Khafra over here. So let's start the battle. So this is a pretty standard Iron Armors team, which Lorson will be really good in because of the synergy that he has with the team being able to quickly bring down the enemy to break the Stormbound chain, as well as proc the heals from here. Okay. So right here, it seems like this animation on Lorson right here, the green color glow aura, is supposedly the Zephyrus blessing, right? But if you take a look at the units on the battlefield, there's no indication of a haste buff nor a dodge buff, although there's a little bit of heal on Lorson, which I assume that's the Zephyrus Embrace. Okay, so that's just like from the battle animation itself. But you can see Lorson just fitting really well into this team, offering that little bit of heal as well as control, so that you are able to sort of complete certain battles which maybe you can't do with Damien, or maybe you can't do with Arden alone, for example. Yeah, so it's like a 2-in-1 unit that gives you that a little bit of everything. So that's for Lorson's current presentation. We're gonna proceed with the battle at 2 times, so you guys can just see the end results. Okay, so let's go into the battle damage comparison. So this is a damage comparison. So even amongst all these beasts in terms of the damage compartment, you can see that Lorson's damage output is definitely decently good. Like obviously not as strong as some of the beasts of the AoE side, but still a really good damage output, considering he's a hybrid between a semi DPS as well as a support for the team. So that's for Lorson's positioning. Now last thing, right, in terms of the Dream Realm side, unfortunately I don't think Lorson's gonna be of any good against the boss, because yeah, there's no way for you to actually proc the ability of Lorson. So we're just gonna get Lorson in the team, for example, and then put in a whole bunch of units just to see the different debuffs and buffs that Lorson can do. So we're just going to throw in a whole bunch of units for demonstration purposes, and without further ado, let's showcase Lorson's ability here. Okay, so a lot of Lorson's ability works off the Stormbound chain over here. So right here, he does activate that Zephyrus Embrace on Valen earlier for that green color aura. Right now the Zephyrus Embrace is on himself right here. This is the animation, so there's no buff icon below the unit, but there is this wind animation flowing on the units itself. But for Lorson's kit, since a lot of his kits is really reliant on the second skill, the Stormbound chain ability, not being able to proc it on the boss is just not that good for him, because you're not able to proc the subsequent part, which is the healing as well as the stunning. And since most of the bosses are control immune, it means that the stunning is not even that good against the bosses itself. So from the Dream Realm side of things, Lorson is definitely a skippable unit. So if you are really hardcore about Dream Realm, Lorson probably won't ever see use, so he is a safe skip if you want to save your resources on other Dream Realm centric character. Okay, so for the PvP side, I think this is where Lorson excels. First of all, there's quite a few teams that you can combine Lorson with. Number one would be with Bonnie right here, for Lorson to link one ally to the backmost ally with Stormbound Retribution, and then have Bonnie target the backmost enemy with Decay's Reach to quickly bring the enemy down, and then proc Lorson's subsequent abilities afterwards. So we'll showcase it in this replay. So starting the battle, we have the chain on Elijah as well as Tasi right here. So Bonnie's poison is ticking down on Elijah, and then when we snipe down Elijah, we get a massive heal on all our allies right here, as you guys can see, and that's where we get the stun off, the heal off, as well as more energy for Lorson to spam his skills. And then from there, you get the gist of things, right? Basically, he starts working once you break the chain. But one thing with regards to common meta interaction is that the chain break, or when Tasi actually falls in battle, you don't actually trigger the turbulence ability. So right here, it happens super duper fast. So I was doing some quick sniping with the assassins to just test out Lorson's kit right here. So we have Lorson linking Tasi to the Freyasto, but when the Tasi fell right here, there was no heal from Lorson. Very quick. It happened super duper quick because of the sniping, but let's run through once again. So link to Tasi, Fresto, Nara pull, and then we snap off Tasi. And as you guys can see right here, there was no heal proc, right? There was also no stun on the Fresto. So what this means is, for Tasi's case, even if you were to link Tasi with Stormbound Retribution, there is a possibility that because the Tasi don't die immediately, you will not be able to trigger Lorson's EX weapon as fast as possible. So that's one interaction that you need to know, because Tasi is pretty popular in the current meta. So that's pretty much it, just a few interactions as well as general usage and views about Lorson so far. So I'll see you guys again in my next video. Bye guys!